Heyo!
And welcome to my top 10 coasters video. Why am I making a top 10 coaster video? Because, well, whenever I seem to do a top 10 video, it does really well. And I can make this one without getting copyright issues. So, as you all know, if you're a really keen fan of the channel, which I'm sure you're not, so none of you will know, I've just been to the Netherlands, and I thought this would be a good time to make a top 10 video because my top 10 probably isn't going to change in a while, and it has changed quite a lot after this trip. So I'm just going to get straight into it. My number 10 coaster is Wicker Man. Wicker Man is, as you'll probably know, a GCI roller coaster at Alton Towers that opened last year. And it isn't very fast or tall, and it doesn't have amazing stats. And obviously, the thing this coaster is most well known for is the theming, and the theming is very good. You've got the massive Wicker Man structure, which throws fire out whenever you go past it, except it doesn't because the fire doesn't work. Oh no, we do love a bit of fuego, don't we? We love a bit of fuego.
Yeah!
But this coaster, yeah, it does have some good theming, and I'm not the biggest theming person on the planet, although I do appreciate it. I think the theming is quite cool. But the coaster itself is surprisingly good once you actually get on it, but it does depend on where you sit quite a lot, and I haven't had the best seating spaces on it, so I probably would rank it a bit higher if I'd got some better seats on it, because I've been to Alton Towers 5 times since it opened, and I've only been on it 4 times, and they were all in the middle. So yeah, but the actual coaster, it's actually very good. Once you get on it, it does feel like it goes very fast, like a lot of GCI coasters do, because that's what they're mainly good at. It has a few airtime moments, and it's all floater because it's a GCI. But it does just feel surprisingly fast, and it is a very good coaster for how big it is, and that's why Wicker Man is at my number 10 spot. At number 9 is a coaster that I've recently ridden in the Netherlands, and it is Fenix at Toverland. B&M Wing Coaster, which was only built last year. Again, this ride has very good theming. It has the best queue line I've ever been in. But the best thing about the queue line on this coaster when I rode it is that there was no one in it. I got to ride it 5 times without getting out of my seat once, and I got to ride it quite a few times throughout the day. The ride itself, it is a very strong wing coaster, although I'm not the biggest B&M fan, so that's why it's not that high on my list. But then again, it is still a very good coaster. The drop's very fun, you get some cool hang time, you go down it, and you go straight into a big floater airtime hill, which is quite unusual for a B&M coaster with vest restraints. The airtime is strong floater and it's good airtime. You go up into an Immelman and then a helix. The Immelman's fun, you kind of get a bit of hang time on it as well. But the helix is probably the best part of the ride because it is very forceful actually. Lots of people get grey outs on it and it's just really forceful. Then you go up into a 0G roll round the corner and then you get to the end of the ride, which is actually a bit bumpy, which is really surprising for a 1-year-old B&M. It's got some kind of forwards and backwards bumps on it, and it's just really strange to feel that on a B&M. As I said, although I did only ride this coaster in the outside seat, so it's probably not as rough in the middle. But the one thing that annoys me with this coaster is that because I went on it in so times in the same seat, there's a drip on it after you go past the big dragon animatronic. What am I saying? Animatronic. And yeah, I just got wet every time. That's a bit annoying, but at the end of the day, it has nothing to do with how good the coaster is. It is a very good coaster, but as I said, I'm not the massive fan of B&M, and I don't like the vest restraints because they're restrictive, and when they come down on me, they come down in a very painful place on my lap. But that's just me. Now the next one on my list at number 8 is a very fun coaster, and it is Lost Gravity at Wallaby Holland, a Mack Big Dipper coaster. As I said, this coaster is fun, and that's the best way to describe it. It's got lots of funky elements. It's got some nice airtime pops, and the layout's just really fun and different. Some people say that this ride has a rattle, and they can shut up because it really isn't that bad at all. I would say the Icon's rattle is worse, and it kind of feels a little bit shuffly, but I did sit on a wing seat for most of my rides, and I did think that it was absolutely fine. So if you think this coaster has a bit of a rattle or a shuffle, It is there, but it's really not that bad at all. Unpopular opinion alert, but I thought that Fenix was rougher in places than Lost Gravity was. But these are both very smooth coasters in the end. So yeah, this coaster, it's got some cool whippy drops, some really strong ejector airtime, and it's got this really cool element after you go down the drop and the airtime hill where you kind of go up into like an overbank, and then you have this airtime pop in the middle, and then you go back down. That's really fun. The rest of the layout's just some Mac twistiness, if you like that. It's got like a helix and some airtime pops and all that kind of stuff, and some inversions. And yeah, it's just overall, it's just a really fun ride. There's nothing exceptional about it, but everything put together just makes it really enjoyable. The next thing at number 7 is I don't even know. At number 7 is the Smiler. So quite controversial in both sides, whether it's good or bad, because some people seem to really like the Smiler, some people seem to hate it. I've said this before, but if you think the Smiler is unbearably rough, just shut up. Like, shut up. It isn't, okay? It's not the smoothest ride in the world. It's a bit rough if you're not sat in the front row, but it really is fine. Like, it's a bit annoying, but it doesn't affect the ride that much. Anyway, the Smiler is a cool ride. It's got lots of inversions, which are really fun. It's got quite a lot of force, and yes, my favourite part of the roller coaster with the most inversions in the world is the airtime hill, because I'm a cocky enthusiast. But yeah, Smiler's just a fun ride. Again, it's fun, as I keep on saying. It's got lots of inversions, a bit of airtime, and it's quite disorientating sometimes, but yeah, it's just a really fun ride, lots of inversions, and I like it, but not as much as the other coasters higher on this list. At number 6 is Stealth, and I'm not going to talk about this that much because I haven't got any footage of it. So this is going to be almost as quick as the ride itself. So it's got a really, really good launch, some really fast acceleration, and up a big top hat into an airtime hill, which is the brakes.
It's a copy of the King of the Car roller coaster and Caves Monster King of Chaos.
Stealth, good ride, fast, good launch, bits of airtime. It's just really fun. At number 5 is a John Wardley classic. You can probably guess what it is. Well, actually, you can't because you don't know what's above it. Anyway, shut up. It's Nemesis at Alton Towers. I don't know why I said at Alton Towers because there's only one. You know what I mean. So, Nemesis is a really good roller coaster. Again, it's really intense and really whippy if you're sitting in the right spot. It's a really good terrain coaster as well. It keeps its pace really well, and it's just, for how old it is, it really is a good roller coaster, and I really like it for the reasons I've said. I've ridden it a lot of times now, and quite often when I go on it, I still am surprised by quite how intense it is, and it's just a really well designed roller coaster. And again, the landscaping is just really good, and it does really help to make it feel like it's going a lot faster than it is. So, absolute John Wardley classic there, you know, we love John Wardley. At number 4 is a roller coaster that I really like and get the GP arguing about it in my comments section, and that is Icon. I really do like this ride, and I have done it a lot of times now after doing some schoolwork on it, where I got a day off school to ride it 31 times, as I said, for schoolwork, obviously. I really do like this ride, and it is my favourite roller coaster in the UK, so you won't see any more UK roller coasters above it. I've said my thoughts on this ride quite a lot on this channel now. It's got some really good airtime, really good pacing, the layout's really varied, and it's just really good in general. Launches aren't the best, but the ride's just well designed with lots of different variety of elements just to make it a really good ride. There are a few spots where I do think it could be a bit better by making it more intense, like the S-Bend section and towards the end. I'm not a ride designer, but I do think if they wanted to, they could have made those sections a bit more intense. Although, to give them credit, they didn't have much room to build it in, so they were a bit limited in what they can do. Now we're getting into the top 3, so I want you to like, comment, comment and subscribe and tell me your favourite roller coaster, guys, in the comments below. What is the most scary and dangerous roller coaster you have ridden? Okay, so here's my top 3. These are all roller coasters that I like very much, and yeah, they're just really good. Number 3 is Goliath at Wallaby Holland. It's an Intamin mega coaster, and it's big, and it's got lots of airtime, and it's quite intense. Anyway, this ride is really good, mainly because of the amount of airtime combined with the amazing restraints on it, the Intamin T-bars. Every time I did this ride, and I think I did it like 8 times in total, the ejector on the hills at the end just took me by surprise. It's so strong, and if that's what the airtime's like on Goliath, I can't even imagine what it's like on Expedition G-Force. But yeah, the airtime on these hills is really strong, and it's really fun, especially with those Intamin T-bar restraints, which got ruined by fat people because they couldn't fit on them. So if you're fat, then you ruined the Intamin roller coasters. So yeah, don't be fat. Right, so at number 2 is Troy. Again, it's another GCI coaster, and the main thing that this roller coaster did to me is make me realise how Wicker Man really is quite shy. This roller coaster made me realise how good a GCI can be after being on Wicker Man before and then doing Troy. I just realised that it really is a good ride, and like Wicker Man, what it does the best is it just holds its speed really well. You go down that curve drop and get a bit of airtime, but then at the bottom, when you're going through on a wooden coaster, when it's a little bit rough, but well, it's not rough, it's just a bit shaky, and it's not painful whatsoever, but you just feel like you're going so fast right from the start, and it goes right to the end, and it just feels really chaotic. It's got lots of kind of twisty GCI moments and little pops of airtime. And the airtime is pretty consistent on this ride. Like, when you are supposed to get airtime, you get airtime. And it's really twisty, and all of the turnarounds have like a pop of airtime going into it and a pop of airtime going out of it as well. So that really helps keep the pace. My favourite part of the ride is the airtime hill after the second turnaround, because the airtime on it is the strongest in the ride, and you just go absolutely flying out of your seat because it's a GCI and you can get quite a lot of room on it. I managed to get 4 clicks on some of my rides and 3 clicks on all the rest, so that's quite a lot of room, and when you do get airtime, you go absolutely flying. It's a great coaster, great pacing, and I really wish Wicker Man was as good as it. Now, given that I've been to the Netherlands and I have been to Wallaby Holland, you can probably guess what ride my number 1 coaster is. And you've probably seen it in the thumbnail as well. It is
El Condor. El Condor is a really smooth ride with great restraints, and it's really original.
Untamed, the RMC hybrid coaster conversion of Untamed at Wallaby Holland. I don't know why I'm speaking like this. This ride is phenomenal. It is such a good ride. It is absolutely full of airtime. Every single moment on this coaster, apart from the overbank turn, gives loads of airtime, and when I was going into this ride, I was expecting a lot of airtime, but I really wasn't expecting as much as this ride has. For example, the double inverting stall gives airtime from as soon as it starts to right at the end, and this element, it's floater airtime, but it's just sustained while you're doing all this inversion and this kind of maneuver, and it just feels so good. And then the rest of the ride, as it goes on, just gets even more crazy and crazy. Then you get to my personal favourite part of the ride, which is the Outer Bank turn airtime hill thing. The airtime on this is so strong, and the fact that it's sideways as well is just amazing. It feels so cool. I absolutely love this part of the ride. Then you go through I think the B&M vest restraints, even the new generation, like on Fenix, are worse than RMC restraints, because I find RMC restraints fine. They're not that bad. Anyway, Untamed's just a phenomenal coaster. Big lad Alan Shilkey just did an absolutely amazing job on this one. So thanks for watching. I don't really know what I'm doing on YouTube at the moment. I'm just making whatever pops into my head. Also, like, this video, yeah, just, I don't know. It happened. Shut up. Just, yeah, again, shut up.
I also just want to give a really quick shout out to a really underrated channel called DJBKR. He makes really good videos, and I think more people need to watch them because he's only got about 80 subscribers, so go subscribe to him. He's really underrated.
Anyway, thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, do all the usual stuff. I'd like to hear what you think. Yeah, I'll see you in the next one.